Chris, your work in Africa as our correspondent there, our special correspondent, exemplary. Thank you so much. I understand you're tired. You're getting ready to board a flight. Took some time to talk with us ahead of that flight. What was the peak moment for you during that papal journey to Africa, the peak message?
Well, I think the peak moment was when the Pope was in Banghi in the Central African Republic at the cathedral in the city there, opening the holy door of the cathedral to start the Year of Mercy. It was a really powerful symbol of what the Pope wants to see the Year of Mercy do. Here he was in the middle of a war zone in a city where people die each day due to violence between Christian and Muslim militia, and he said, Banghi today is the spiritual capital of the world, and he opened the Holy Door of Mercy in that place, and it really is a sign that he wants mercy to take kind of practical expression throughout the year. And I thought it was incredibly powerful, him doing it there, going out to the margins of society into a country which most people have not really heard of, don't really know very much about, but it's a country that's really on its knees.
Chris, we talked to Father Cosmas out here. He ministers to our Nigerian parishioners here, and he talked about the symbolism of the opening of the doors in Banghi and the symbolism of the holding hands and embracing each other. And I asked him if that type of idealistic symbolism was enough to bring hope to the hearts of these very troubled people. Did you get the sense that hope was really springing strong out there?
I think they were very hopeful by the Pope's visit. The streets were lined with people. They were cheering. They were even cheering the journalists when we drove by. I think there was a real sense of excitement and hope with the visit. I mean, this is a country that's really had such terrible suffering for years. And the president, the interim president of the country, she said she hoped the Pope's visit would be the start of the peace process. I mean, just a little story for you. At the end of the Mass on Monday, I met a young guy who had lost his leg in a grenade blast by one of the militia, and he was in a wheelchair. And he told me that he met the Pope briefly. The Pope would be able to stop and blessed him, and he said he was ready to forgive the people who had harmed him. Wow. So I think, you know, those kind of stories are signs there is some hope in the country. I mean, it's too soon to say. There's a huge way to go, but I think the Pope's visit has provided at least a kind of ray of light, really, for them.
Chris, you cover the apostolic journey in Africa, and you've also covered other papal journeys as well. What about this visit, from your first-hand perspective, really stands out? And I ask you because you did see the people in the peripheries, and you were there, and you were covering the Pope, and you heard what he had to say and what he had to do. Does this differ at all from other journeys?
I think it is different. I mean, it was the first time a Pope has gone into a war zone, and it's kind of what this Pope wants to see the world like. It's the world turned upside down. It's the people who are the poorest, who are the ones who are most at risk, most vulnerable, who he wants to see at the forefront. I think he believes that Africa has a message for the rest of the world, and particularly on climate change and poverty. And I think it was that which really struck home, was that these people in these countries were just so overjoyed to see the Pope. They greeted him with dancing and singing and music, and there was a kind of it was kind of just quite down to earth, really.
We saw that it was very celebratory. The tone of the visit and the people there. Absolutely,
and the Pope. He said afterwards in the plane he was impressed by the Africans' ability to party on an empty stomach. You know, they really know how to have fun and to celebrate. It comes very naturally to all of them. Of course, Africa is a very diverse continent. It's got lots of different countries in it. It's not just one big block.
And Chris, before I let you go, we're running short on time, and I know you have to board the plane. On the flight, he usually breaks news. Typically, is there anything about what he had to say on the flight home back to Rome that struck a chord with you?
Well, I think what he said about the need to tackle climate change and the environment was pretty strong. He said that it was now or never for world leaders gathering in Paris this week to come to an agreement, and that the world was edging towards suicide. I thought that was quite strong. And I also thought that what he said about Islam and fundamentalism was interesting. He said that in all religions there is fundamentalism, including in Catholicism, and I thought that was kind of a newsworthy and noteworthy thing to say. So those are the two things that struck me.